I wanted to have on Jeff Fletcher. He's the Angels beat writer for the Orange County Register, because we were talking about this the other day. When the ballot comes out, Ohtani will be on there. I hope he's in the home run derby, but could he make the roster at two different positions? I'm curious about that. Jeff, kind enough to join us. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Sure, thanks for having me.
Explain this with the ballot for the All-Star game. Ohtani would be on there as a regular everyday player, and then he would be eligible to be picked by the manager for pitching as well?
We haven't really given that a whole lot of thought until you just mentioned it, but that sounds reasonable. I mean, fans don't vote for pitchers, so obviously you'd have to be on there as a DH. So I'm guessing that would be how it would work, yes.
But I'm also looking, I'm curious he had comments where he said through an interpreter that he wanted to play more, but I think the Angels are doing the right thing by, yes, you want to say that publicly, but I think privately it's a long season for him. He'll hit that rookie wall, but how much do you see him as an everyday player as we move forward?
Well, I mean, he's available to hit every day except the day before and after he pitches and the day he's pitching. So that leaves 4 days a week plus off days. So that's maybe 3.5 days a week. And so far there have been 2 games he's been available he hasn't played. So, I think that's probably reasonable going forward. He's going to probably play an average of 3 days a week, maybe some weeks only 2, probably rarely 4. But I think that, they really have to be very careful with this. It's like he's a very fragile I'm not saying he's fragile. He's very valuable, and it's a very strange thing they're doing with him, so they don't want to break him, so to speak.
If I said a month ago, 6 weeks ago, that Ohtani would have this kind of start, what would you have said?
I would probably not have been surprised on the pitching part. I would have been surprised on the hitting part. I think there was reasonable skepticism about him as a hitter even before spring training, before we saw what happened in spring training, just because I think the scouting reports were that he was, better as a pitcher. And, as a hitter in Japan, they didn't pitch him inside very much. Obviously, the pitching's not as good in Japan. Doesn't see as much velocity, all these other things. And plus, hitters in the major leagues that are everyday hitters, they say how difficult it is to hit if you're not doing it every single day.
Yeah.
And he's just by definition going to take 3 days off a week where he's not really going to hit. So you add all that together, and I think there's a lot of skepticism that he can be a hitter, indefinitely. And there's still, reasonable skepticism that this is going to go on forever. But so far, he's doing great. He's had, 30 at-bats, which is not a ton, and he's doing very well so far.
I guess give people a sense of what it's like for him with the media, certainly the Japanese media covering him. What's that like on a daily basis?
Well, it's not really quite the circus that you would imagine. There's probably an extra 30 members of the Japanese media there on an everyday basis. On the days he pitches, it goes up to maybe 75 or 100.
That's a lot, isn't it, Jeff?
He does well, but it's very separated where he'll do his little press conference after the games only. He never talks before the game. They take him out into a separate area. It's not in the clubhouse. He talks to the American media first, of which there's usually 5, 6, 8 people, and he does it with his interpreter. And then he goes and talks to the Japanese media and does it without the interpreter, so it goes a lot faster. And, it's probably a total commitment for him of about 12 to 15 minutes 4 times a week. So it's not a huge inconvenience, I don't think, for him or for the other players. So it has so far not been so bad.
Any jealousy on the part of the veterans there?
So far, no. So far, it's sort of been the opposite. They've kind of rallied around him because of the criticism around him during spring training and people that were sort of saying he was a bust and that he shouldn't be in the majors. And they kind of said, hey, that's ridiculous. This is spring training. We can see how good this guy is. So they're sort of defending him. I don't know, 2 months from now, if everybody is still writing, in awe about when he got a hit, then, maybe it'll be different. But for now, it's not too bad.
Is he pitching tomorrow against the Red Sox?
Yes, he is.
Okay. If I said, and I know you're going to hate me for this, you could have the future of these players starting right now, Bryce Harper, Mike Trout, or Shohei Ohtani.
Am I starting now so I don't already get the last 6 years of Trout and Harper?
Nope, right today.
Oh, man. That is a tough question. I would probably take still Trout, just because he is he's only 3 years older than Ohtani today. He's a rock solid, absolute guaranteed. You know what he's going to give you. Otani is still, he's a pitcher that can get hurt. We don't know about the hitting thing, because he's trying to do two things at once. He may be deteriorating from each of them by doing both. I would still take Trout probably.
All right. Well, at least you paused. I thought it might be one of those. It's a given because you watch Trout every single day. But the fascination with Ohtani and what he's done so far, and of course in this day and age you have to have your hot take and it has to be immediate. So you have to have your opinion right now. Then I play it like 5 years from now, Jeff, when Ohtani's back in the Japanese league, and then I say, how could you possibly say that? That's how we do this.
Oh, okay.
No,
Gotcha.
I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. Kind of kidding there. Hey, Jeff, thanks for joining us.
Sure. Thanks for having me.
That's Jeff Fletcher, the Angels beat writer for the Orange County Register. No, we wouldn't do that. We wouldn't play it like 5 years from now. We've been known to do that, but I wouldn't do that. I just went on a rant last Friday where, the media just skews to negative stories. So I can't do that now.
For more Dan Patrick Show, tune to Audience Channel 239 on DirecTV or download the Dan Patrick Show app.